Look, I know we've only just met, and I take you to think I'm some kind of old curmudgeon, but I've got one, well, I've got several big gripes, but one of them is Phillip Schofield. Bear with me, I know he's a bit of a national treasure, and it's not about Phillip Schofield personally. Never met the guy, probably never will. Um, I assume he's a perfectly decent bloke, that's the way he comes across. My problem is people like him. So it's the Richard Madeley's, sometimes the Eamon Holmes, the Andrew Castles, but personified by Phillip Schofield, because essentially it's no job for a bloke. And you just look at what he's done throughout his career. He's made a life out of having something soft, warm and furry sat on his left hand. 25 years ago it was Gordon the Gopher, now it's the fragrant Holly Willoughby. Fair play to him. I mean, if his wife's happy with it, well, that's fine. You ever notice that at the start of every new session after the break, he's always doing this, except when she's on her monthlies, when he's going, "Oh, what the fuck's that? That's disgusting. What's she done? She's sat on the bloody gopher." But my problem really is the stuff that he's made to talk about. Recently they had a whole episode that was to do with women's menstrual cycles, and if you believe what goes on these programs, they have a phone in where a woman was saying that just because she was a bit pissed off around a period, she virtually disemboweled her husband because he didn't come back with a pint of milk. And it's absolutely ridiculous. According to these people, women have 10 days of premenstrual tension, 10 days of menstrual tension, and then 10 days of post-menstrual tension, and then the whole fucking cycle starts again. For all I know, that's what goes on, but that's what they'd have you believe. And they don't understand the irony of what they get Phillip Schofield to talk about. Recently they had a story of a lad who'd lost both legs through cancer. One leg because of the cancer, the other leg because they'd cut the fucking wrong one off the first time. And at the end of it he says, "Thank you for sharing your brave story with us about how you lost both legs through cancer." And after the break we'll be talking to Kate Thornton, who will be sharing with us her story of how she doesn't like the shape of her calves and how it's traumatised her and affected her career. So she's having liposculpture and calf implants. This is no job for a bloke. And then you get the ubiquitous, omnipresent people who turn up to these things week after week, plugging a book or whatever. So you get poor old Phil saying, "Join us after the break when we have Marlene Class," and the camera cuts to the ubiquitous, omnipresent Marlene Class sat there with an enormous gobful of ridiculously overly white teeth, sat on a toilet with her fingers crossed. They cut back to Phil, who says, "And Marlene will be performing her latest pregnancy test live in the studio for us." It's no job for a bloke. But first we have Kerry Katona, and they cut to Kerry Katona, the omnipresent, ubiquitous Kerry Katona, with an enormous gobful of ridiculously overly white teeth. And Kerry will be telling us how breastfeeding destroyed her nipples and eventually ruined her marriage. But what Kerry doesn't know is we'll also be cutting to a live link to Brian McFadden and Gudrun Lumsden, whatever bloody name is, in Australia, and Brian's going to try and convince us in 2 minutes as to what he ever saw in this sad, pathetic, drug-addled old loon. These people are bizarre. They seek fame for the whole sake of it. And poor old Phil, and it's no job for a bloke, is there to make this happen for them. You look at Jade Goody's mum, Jackie Budden, who's now got her own website and is portrayed as a reality TV star. This woman is a acknowledged drug addict, lesbian with a paralysed arm. I mean, what kind of fucking party must that have been? Imagine the scene. Coked up to the eyeballs, amyl nitrate, her arm up to the elbow in some unsuspecting woman's arse. And halfway through, the woman gets a complete dose of shit, this fucking hurts, goes into the most enormous anal spasm, and essentially puts a tourniquet around this woman's elbow. It's no wonder her arm's paralysed. The scene is something like James Herriot. It shouldn't happen to a vet, but without the remotest bit of romance or dignity. These people are amazing. She's now decided, because she's the consummate media professional, that she's going to make a film of it. It's going to be based on Brokeback Mountain. It's called Broke Arm Fisting. It's disgusting. And poor old Phil is there to make this happen for them. I feel sorry for him. Can he not get a note from his mum or his wife saying, please excuse Phil from doing this particular scene? Any normal bloke, when the women were talking about these things, wouldn't sit there with a sincere look on his face going, oh, I feel your pain. He'd be going, nah, 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 la, 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 not listening, not listening. Poor old Phil has to listen and has to make this happen for them. And at the end of his bloody show, he's got to eat some sodding omelette or something cooked by the ubiquitous, omnipresent Gino Di Campo, who talks with the same kind of Italian accent as the Italian colonel out of I think it's Hello Hello. And Phil has to go, if you want to follow Gino's recipe as we go along, you'll find the ingredients on our website. Ingredients? It's a fucking omelette. And Holly Willoughby's there going, quite complicated, an omelette. Thick as shite. And at the very end, he's got to introduce some sad old fuck from the X Factor, who is going to perform his first and what will turn out to be his last single, which contains the immortal lyrics of, I like Simon Cowell, I'd like to be his chum. I'm so desperate to stay in show business, I'd let him take me up the... Well, you get the idea. Poor old Phillip Schofield. It's no wonder his fucking hair has turned white at an early age. Any normal bloke would not have to listen to this bloody stuff every day. It's harrowing, and I feel sorry for him. Anyway, that's what I think about Phillip Schofield.